Look at me. You are brilliant at what you do. So why doesn't your bank account match your expertise? I'm Ashley Kirkwood, founder of Speak Your Way to Cash. My company has been on the Inc. 5000 list for the past 2 years in a row and in the top 25% of that list. That is the list of the fastest growing companies in America. But before this, I was a big law attorney making over $300,000 a year at one of the most prestigious law firms in the world. And yet, when I left to start my own business, like many of you, I made a mistake that cost me years and hundreds of thousands of dollars. See, I thought that because I was smart, credentialed, and experienced, clients would just line up to work with me. Well, newsflash, they didn't. And here's what I've learned after working with hundreds of executives, consultants, speakers, and corporate experts who left the safety net of a $200,000 to $300,000 job to build something of their own. The smartest people I know are making $100,000, maybe $250,000 a year in their business when they should be making millions. And it's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're packaging your expertise the way corporate trained you to. And that's the exact thing keeping you stuck. So in this video, I'm breaking down the one shift that took me from struggling entrepreneur to multiple 7 figures per year. And I'm giving you the exact sales tactic that you can use this week to reposition yourself and start landing 5 and 6 figure contracts. Here's what you're gonna learn in this video. Number 1, the expertise trap. Why your corporate training is sabotaging your pricing as an entrepreneur and how to fix it. Number 2, the outcome reframe. The simple language shift that makes clients say yes faster and pay you more. And the exact 3-step framework I use to help our clients go from $50,000 a year or less to making over $75,000 plus per contract. And it's changing the way that they sell. Plus, I'll give you some real stories along the way. Let's dig in.
Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy.
Okay, number 1, you are selling time instead of outcome. Corporate trained you to bill hours, but buyers don't care about the hours. They care about the result. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was first starting my business was I was selling everything by the hour. So one of the things that I would do is I knew that it would take me maybe an hour or so to do a consult with a client. I knew that my corporate rate was $80 an hour as a trained litigator. Now, y'all, I worked at the top law firm in the world. Only 14% of all lawyers get to work at these types of law firms. On average, lawyers in Illinois at the time that I was practicing were making $60,000 a year. So let's not get it twisted. All lawyers weren't making what I was making, but many of you watching this video are high-powered corporate executives. You spent decades in school. You have the student loan debt to prove it. And so you need to make sure that you don't have more in student loan debt that you owe than you are making in an annual salary. It does not make sense for you. You put in the work already. And so what I did was I came out of corporate. I was like, okay, well, based on my money that I was making, $80 an hour was about my hourly rate. Now I had overtime and bonuses and all of those things, but about $80 an hour is what a new associate is making. So I figured I'd charge $80 an hour as a law firm owner. Big mistake. Let me tell you why. My goal when I first started my business was to replace my corporate salary. So my annual revenue goal was $300,000 my first year out. However, what I didn't realize is when you're an employee, you don't have other people to split your salary with. So I didn't have employees. I didn't have W-2 people to pay. I didn't have contractors to pay. I didn't have payroll taxes to pay. I didn't have a whole litany of other expenses that I now have as a business owner. So my revenue goal should have been astronomically higher in order for me to make that $300,000 a year salary that I was making in corporate. Can I be 100% real with y'all? I don't pay myself a $300,000 salary now. And my company makes millions of dollars a year, but that's not my take-home pay. So for all of you out there who are leaving 6-figure jobs to start a business, let me tell you what I wish someone would have told me. Your revenue goal is not what you were making in corporate. You need to 10x that. That should be your first year revenue goal. So my first year revenue goal should have been $3 million. And at that point, I still probably would not, because we do that now, but I still do not pay myself a $300,000 a year salary as a W-2 of my own business. So I just want to keep it real. I literally recently heard Fawn Weaver speak from Uncle Nearest. She said her company is valued at over $100 million. She said since the inception of her company, she has paid herself between $0 and $90,000 a year. And her company is valued at $100 million. So sis, up that revenue goal. So here's what I did. I priced based on what I was making in corporate per hour. That is not how I should have priced as a business owner, because as a business owner, you have expenses. Also, None of my clients care how many hours it takes me to coach and consult them. None of them care. What they all care about is whether I give them transformational information, advanced level consulting that helps them get a result. And the quicker I can do it, the better. So they're not interested in me taking 100 hours to do something that takes 1 hour. They're interested in the result. So when you're figuring out your prices, do not price off of the time that it takes you at this point in the business. Price based on the outcome. So if you know that you are a sales consultant and you can help their sales team generate 10% more revenue and they're right now doing $1 million a month, well then the value of that is an additional $100,000 per month to that organization. That would be an additional $1.2 million of revenue that you can add to the bottom line. So should you charge $1.2 million? No, because you want them to get an ROI. But you might be okay charging them $5,000 to $10,000 per month as a consultant. Now, if you're going to go in and do a corporate training, listen to me good. Your standard rate is $15,000. Now, some of you are already getting $15,000 to speak. So your standard rate should be $25,000 to $30,000. After you've gotten a rate 10 times, or you're getting a rate and they never push back on it, you may want to consider, should you raise that rate? Does that rate make sense? Now, if they're always pushing back on it, if they're always asking for a payment plan, then you may want to consider if you are at the top of your market. Here's a good rule of thumb. If 80% of all of your clients are paying in full every single time, consider raising your rate. If none of your clients are paying in full, consider whether you are at the top of that audience's budget. And if so, you either need to choose a different audience or you could look at, do you need to change your offer? Okay? Choose a different audience, change your offer, maybe even change your price. I'm unfortunately not one of those coaches that'll tell you guys, you could charge whatever for whatever. I have clients all the time that come to me and they're like, Ashley, I want to charge $100,000 for this random offer. And I'm just like, no. Why would someone buy that? You're going to have to convince me that the market needs that. And it's not to really diminish their light or make them feel like they should charge less, but it is to make them justify why they are charging a particular price and whether the market actually wants to pay that. And if anyone right now is in the market paying that, there is a such thing, contrary to popular internet coaches, there is a such thing as overpricing your market. It is what it is. And especially right now, because I don't know if you all noticed, but look around. The world is going a little cuckoo. So right now, we need to make sure that if we are charging for something, we are sure that we can get them the outcome. And let me tell y'all something else. Can I talk to y'all like y'all my friends? I feel like I can. Some of y'all need to stop selling what you're selling because you don't know what you're doing. I know it's hard. I know. Everybody's telling you to be an expert. You done went to ChatGPT and now you got a degree in something you have no clue about. And I understand that AI can make you feel smarter than you are. But let me be clear. An expert is someone who has put in 10,000 hours in a particular area. It is someone who can mastery, like they have a mastery level of expertise. Like they can talk about it without prompting. They have stories for days about how they've helped people. They have receipts, not just rhetoric. We are living in a world where everyone who is really good at what they do has to work harder to prove it because there are so many people who are pretending to be good at stuff that they are not good at. And the saddest part about it, y'all, is most of you, all of you who watch my channel, because I feel like fake experts hate me, but real experts love me. So you all have something that you are really good at, that you can get people an outcome at, but you don't want to sell it. You actually refuse to sell it. I coach people every day who are so good at this one thing, and you know what they tell me? They say, Ashley, I don't care that I have 20 years of experience in corporate doing this thing. I refuse to sell what I actually know. I want to sell this shiny object thing over here. And I ask these ladies, why? And they tell me, because that looks better. Don't be that person. Please don't be that person. Like, y'all, sell what you know. Let me give you a very simple example. If you spent 20 years in corporate America doing marketing, and now you want to start your own business, you're like, but you know what? I've always wanted to be a ballerina, Ashley. Ma'am, do you dance? No, Ashley, I've never danced, but I really watch a lot of dancing. Please don't be a ballerina. Please be a marketer. You know what I mean? Like, why are we doing this? Be real with yourself. Go in your mirror and look at yourself and say, I'm going to be real with myself. What do I have experience doing? What am I good at? That is what you should sell, because it is going to be so difficult for you to compete with someone who has the 10,000 hours. And believe it or not, in the world of AI bots, scammers, and people who just don't know who they are. There are some of us that are really good at what we do. And what you don't want to do is show up with fake expertise to a gunfight where there's somebody real there. If you want to dominate in your industry right now in the year of 2025, in the year of our Lord 2025, going into 2026, going into 2027, going into whatever year you're watching this video, you need to actually be good at what you do. And then you need to figure out, I've gotten myself this outcome, but can I get someone else that outcome? And as quickly as humanly possible, run out your house, run into the internet streets and get 10 people a result. Get 10 people a result and document every piece of the result that you're getting for other people. Document the story, document the start, document where they were before. And after you get those 10 people a result, even if you could do 5 people getting them a result, then you're going to go out and you are going to tell everyone about how you've helped other people to get a result. And you are going to create an offer that the market needs. Now, I talked about not selling hours, selling outcomes. When it comes to creating your offer, here's what you need to do. You need to ask people what they want to pay for from you. Because let me tell you something. Somebody might buy dance classes, but they're not buying them from me. I'm not a dancer. So it's not that people aren't buying your offer. It could be that that's not the offer the market wants to see from you based on your expertise, your story, and your experiences. But once you figure out what your expertise is, then you're going to package it into an offer. Well, what is an offer? An offer is a compelling package of products and services that help the consumer to get a result. That is an offer. It's a compelling package of products and services that help the consumer to get a result. That's what an offer is, okay? And so you want to put together something that is compelling. You know what's not compelling? A coaching hour. Like, oh, I'm gonna do a consult. That's not an offer, that's a consult. What can make that compelling? Well, there are some elements that make things compelling, like a name. You want to give a name to what you're going to sell to them. And then you want to have elements to it, things that they are going to get, things that will be included. Tell them about the process, tell them about the outcome, tell them about the elements that they will get, and don't use the language of the pieces, like you're gonna get a call with me. Don't nobody want to call with you. Don't nobody want to call with me. What they want is for me to give them advice that can help them get to a result. So instead of saying I have a VIP day, we have $1 million launch VIP day. During this process, we take you from an idea to an entire launch plan, and we give you the numbers behind what it would take for you to do $1 million for that launch. So not just, okay, you'll make $1 million in a day. What? But like, oh, okay, so your offer is $20,000. This is how many people you need to get into that offer in order for that to make sense. This is how you can get those people into that offer. This is how many people need to see the landing page. These are the strategies that you can utilize. This is the storytelling that you should do. So give them an offer, okay? Are y'all getting this? Like, give them an offer. So that was my biggest mistake. Is I started off, the first business that I started successfully was my law firm. And I was just doing what everyone else was doing. I looked at my competitors to figure out my prices, and I did not actually do market research off bat, which is why I'm so big on doing market research. It was the one thing that took me from selling based on the pieces of what I was doing to selling the outcome and really being able to compete and price outside of my competitors, was understanding what they thought about their legal portfolio. So now that we have a consulting business, we're able to do the same thing. We do market research. We're able to look at all of the calls that we've done with past clients, all of the success stories. We have hundreds that you can see. If you even Google Speak Your Way to Cash reviews, you'll see hundreds of testimonials on our Sotellus platform. So you'll be able to kind of see how we've helped people through the years. But we've been doing this since 2018. That's why I'm like, don't worry about getting hundreds. Worry about getting 5 or 10. 5 or 10, because it also proves your framework, okay? It proves your framework, all right? The number 2 thing that you need to do is you need to use what I call the outcome reframe. Stop saying, I do leadership training or I'm a consultant. Start saying, I help companies to reduce turnover by 40% in less than 60 days. So talk about the actual outcome that you can get them and make sure that you're leading the conversation with that. And can I give you another little nugget on this? When you're having a call, the first call with a corporate client, with a consumer client, doesn't matter who you're selling to, during that first call, talk numbers. I'm gonna say that again because I already know that someone watching this is having sales calls and they're not making sales because you know what you're saying at the end of your sales call? I'm going to send over a proposal. I know it's you. I'm looking right at you right now. Like you're having an entire sales call. You get to the end of the call. They're vibing with you. You're vibing with them. You've asked them all the discovery questions under the sun. And then you end the call with, okay, great. I think I understand what you want. I'm going to send you a proposal. And then you know what you do? A day goes by and you don't send them the proposal. Nah, you don't. And then another day goes by. You don't send them the proposal. Nah. 3 days go by. You don't send them the proposal. 4 days go by. You don't send anything. And then on the 5th day, you're like, well, it's too late. They probably went with someone else. You never send the proposal. If this is you, I want you to comment, it's me in the comments. And I'm going to come and give you some encouragement in the comments because we have to stop the madness. So here's what I want you to do instead of all that. On the sales call, you are going to talk numbers with them. And I'm going to give you the exact language to transition into the money conversation. Here's what you're going to say. You're going to say, okay, it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're interested in A, B, and C. Is that right? Am I understanding that right? They're going to say yes. And I'm going to say, okay, great. Well, I have a solution that could probably help you to solve A, B, and C. Would you be interested in hearing about it? And they're going to say yes. And then you're going to say, okay, awesome. There's 3 ways I can help you. And you're going to lay out the 3 packages that you have that can help them. And then you're going to ask them, which one of these makes the most sense for you? Okay? And then they're going to tell you which one makes the most sense for them. You're not going to ask them to buy it and then say which one of these makes the most sense for you. And then they're going to say which one makes the most sense for them. And then you're going to say, okay, great. Package A costs this, package B costs this, package C costs this. Which one are you most comfortable with getting started with? And then they're going to give you their objections. Now, hear me good when I tell you this. Objections are not a slap in the face. All it means is they have questions about what you're offering. And then you're going to answer their objections. You're going to say, okay, I understand. The biggest objections, time, money, timing. Time, this isn't the right time. I'm going to get back to you in 30 days. Money, this is a little bit more than I expected to spend. I don't think we can afford this right now. The timing objection is different than time. Timing is, I want to start, but I'm going to start in Q1. Timing is sneaky because timing could also just be a money objection. You want to dig deeper into those money objections. And you could just simply ask someone this gangster question I'm about to give y'all, which is, what can I do to get you started today? What they gonna say? They're gonna tell you what you could do. They may say, I only have $5,000, and then you could on the fly make a offer for them that makes sense for $5,000. You could tell them that you have payment plans or options. You could say, hey, well, if you start before 2026, we will lock in our 2025 rates. You could say any number of things, but what's happening when you send these proposals into the abyss, if you ever send a proposal, they are having the money conversation without you. So you don't have any chance to help them to understand the value of your offer. And you don't even know whether they see value in your offer. And let me ask you this, if we do a sales call and you're like, Ashley, I want to work with you. I want to do your $1 million launch VIP day, which is $100,000 to be clear. Now it's a $100,000 offer. If you tell me, Ashley, I want to do your $1 million launch VIP day, and I ask you all these questions about the launch, we're vibing, everything's going great, but I don't tell you anything about the price, and I send you an email and I say, hey, here's an invoice for $100,000, how do you feel? You may have been thinking it was $5,000. You may have been thinking it was $1. You may have been thinking it was free. You may have been thinking we're going to do it because we homies. Never. But you may have thought that. And so like one of the things that I'll tell you guys is that if you don't talk price while they're right there, you're allowing them to justify your prices without you. And that's never what you want to do because we are in business. Sales is a contact sport. And you can do it. You did it for corporate. Some of you were in corporate sales killing the game. But then you come into entrepreneurship and it's like a totally different monster. And a part of it is there are so many moving parts when it comes to generating sales in your business, which is why our clients hire Speak Your Way to Cash because we're a sales training firm. But most people are just not having the money conversation because it feels like a lot of money to them. Instead, you should have the conversation because you always charge beneath the value. Why do you do that? Because you want people to get an ROI. I'm never charging someone what it's worth. And I, as an individual, am priceless. But every offer that I sell has a value. And it has a value to me. It has a value to the marketplace. So I want to charge beneath the value so that people can get a real ROI. That does not mean I want to undercharge, but it does mean that I can justify any of our prices. Period. It's not that big of a deal. But the second mistake that you guys are making is that you're not talking about the outcome. You're not doing the outcome reframe. You're just talking about the pieces of your offer. And guess what? When you do that, you sound like every other person in your niche. And that's what we don't want you to do. We don't want you to do that. I want you to win. I don't want you to get buried underneath every single thing that all of your competitors say. And some of you right now, that's exactly how you feel. Like you're not being seen, you're not being valued, you're so good at what you do, but nobody knows it. You're discouraged because when you put out a post, only 2 people like it. Let me explain something to you. I have 141,000 followers on Instagram. You know what that means? Nothing, because people still have like 2 people liking the posts. Right now, it's all about the content. It's not even about how many followers you have. So don't get discouraged by that, but you do need to start talking about money. It's okay to talk about money. You should say what you want, and if they don't buy it, they don't buy it. That's fine. But you need to be comfortable having the money conversation. I'm comfortable having the money conversation. I sometimes tell people, no, I'm not paying that. It is what it is. Like, because again, everything has a value, but you need to be comfortable having the money conversation. And for a lot of you, it's hard to have that conversation, if we can be real, because of what money means to you. Money is a tool, it's not a measuring stick. But many of you think of it as a measuring stick. You're like, I make 6 figures in my job, so I'm better. I make this, so I'm better. I make this, so I'm worse. Like that framework, that frame is keeping you stuck in your business, because right now your business may not be doing well, even though you may have a 7-figure real estate portfolio, even though you may have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you are making in corporate. If your business isn't doing well and money is a measuring stick for you, you don't show up confidently, because you can only show up confidently when all the stars align. I need you to show up like I was about to use a curse word. I've been hearing the word bad, AWS, so much, but I'm not gonna curse at y'all. You need to show up like a boss regardless. You need to show up like the powerful woman or man that you are regardless, okay? And so let's get into the 3rd tip that I have for you guys in this video. Number 3, I'm gonna give you the exact 3-step framework that has helped our clients to make more money in their business, get large contracts, and grow their company. So listen up. There's 3 parts to this framework, and we're gonna go over all 3 right now. Number 1 is going to be topic. B is going to be target. And 3 is going to be pitch. Now, it sounds simple, so I'm gonna walk it through slowly. So number 1, topic. You want to make sure that you are building your business on a topic that people are already buying. So this is where you're gonna do your competitor research. So we're gonna do MR here, that stands for market research. You wanna make sure that if you are a speaker, a consultant, or someone in that nature, you are going to look at what other speakers and consultants in your niche are doing. You do not want to create an industry. You want to compete within an industry. Competitors are a good thing. Now, if you come to me and you're a client and you're like, Ashley, no one else speaks on this topic. I'm so excited to be the first one. It's going to be so easy for me to get clients. I'm going to tell you, baby girl, it's not. Okay? Because you now have to educate them, and then after you educate them, sell them into your offers. Whereas if you are a confidence speaker, if you are a sales consultant, if you are someone who does empathy training, there are already people in your niche that are doing well in those topics. So now we can go in ninja style, do competitor research, find out who their clients are, what they're charging, what they're paying, where they're speaking, what conferences they're going to. We have a foundation to work with, so we can now compete. We can look at their angle for speaking on those topics, and we can fill a void by speaking on an area that they are not covering. But when you are breaking into an industry, making up a brand new topic or a brand new offer that nobody else is in, you're going to need money to educate, because you're going to have to train the market that this is something that is valuable. You don't want to sell them on too many things. Choose one thing to sell them on. I like to choose my offers. I don't like to sell them on the concept. So I don't go after people who are like, Ashley, I don't think coaching makes sense at all. I've never worked with a coach. Convince me to get a coach. What is a coach? Baby, you got to get there on your own. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not selling you on all that. Like, I will, however, talk to you about our offers, why we're different, what we do unique. But most of our clients, we're not even their first coach, we're their second. So they already know the difference because they've seen what our competition looks like. You know what I mean? And so that's how you want to compete. So you want to choose a topic where there is competition. I want you to reframe your mind. Competition is good. Everyone says, oh, well, the market is so crowded. Not if you can pierce through the market. Have you ever been in a really crowded room, a really crowded street, like a marketplace or something, and then there's one person that's like, hey, everybody, be quiet. And it pierces through all the noise of all the conversations. Why is that? Because they were louder than the underlying noise. You want to pierce through the crowded marketplace with a very succinct, very clear message. So your topic needs to make sense. Now, your target needs to be what we call a wealthy audience. This is where a lot of people get it twisted. Don't sell to people who don't have money to pay you. That's number one. Very simple. I was working with a client recently. I was like, I want to have a come to Jesus moment with you, my good brother. Got to stop selling to broke people. Doesn't make sense. You're not a payday loan store. You're not equipped to compete in that market. You want to sell to an audience that actually has money to pay you. And this is where a lot of people get it twisted, because they come to me and they say, well, Ashley, here's the thing. I'm trying to figure out what's the best words, but I'm gonna draw it up here. So they're gonna say, Ashley, I have a passion for something. I'm passionate about this. That's great. And they're gonna say, Ashley, I feel like God has made this a part of my purpose. So I have to do this, and I have to do it for free because I am the second Jesus. I got to save everybody. And I'm like, okay, got it. Then they say, Ashley, I've been serving in my passion. I've been serving in my purpose, but now I want to get paid. Here is the mistake that I see heart-centered entrepreneurs make. And I guarantee you guys, I have a heart, so I get it. I wanted to serve everyone in the beginning. I used to have a $30 a month coaching program. And do you know what happened? Only 10 people were in it. Of those 10 people, how many of them are still running those businesses successfully right now? Not many. Maybe one out of 10. Now we have programs that range from $35 to $50 to $100,000. Guess how many of those clients are still clients and having successful businesses? Many. In fact, we have a 70% renewal rate in our mastermind program. That is the lowest tier is $35,000. We have people who've been in that program for 5 years. Do you know how successful their businesses have to be to keep investing at that level, to keep growing? In fact, one of our clients built 2 multi-six-figure businesses in 2 years working with us. Shut down our first one, built a whole nother one with us in 12 months. Why is that? Because they're paying at the level that they expect to see results. They're showing up. They're not making excuses. If I could give you any sign that you need to change your audience base, people that make excuses never have success long term. They get to have something, but what they get to have is their excuses. I saw a leadership training. It was Dave Ramsey and a few other guys. And he said, you can never excuse your way into success. It's a fact. That's why our motto is energy high, excuses low. I know people that make excuses. And guess what? The biggest thing that they have in their life is those excuses. Period. I know it felt harsh, but trust me, we're going somewhere. So passion, purpose, paychecks. So you want to be right here. You want to be right here. This is where I'm at. I'm passionate about helping experts to get paid, particularly women experts. 90% of our clients are Black women experts, but we love our women who work with us from all over the world. And we love our fellows because we do got some fellows in our mastermind. So shout out to the men, but 90% women. I love that. Passionate about that. This is for sure my purpose. How do I know? Because I plan to be a Supreme Court justice. I went to Northwestern Law. I graduated cum laude. I was top of my class. I worked at Kirkwood and Ellis, and I had an offer to work for a federal judge. The way that you get appointed to the federal bench, you have to be appointed by the president. The fastest path to getting there, and you can't ever guarantee it, is to work for other judges who were appointed by the president. So I interned for a judge that was appointed by the president, and then I went and I campaigned to get this other job. It's a very lower paid but prestigious job with a federal judge. And I was like, okay, great, this is my path, because I'm going to work for this federal judge. I'm working in big law. I'm doing all the things. I studied the careers of Supreme Court justices, and I was like, I'm going to do all those things. Top school, check. Job at the federal judge, check. You know what I mean? Big law job, check. Good grades, check. Network, check. All the things. I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice, so much so. And I wish I had the picture, but my husband for my law school graduation painted me an oil painting, because my man is talented, but he made me an oil painting of me on the Supreme Court. That was like the job. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to do with my life. That's what I set up my life to do. My parents prepared me to compete at the highest levels in corporate. Our dinner conversations were literally about how to navigate corporate as being the only Black woman. They like, now what you gonna do is, and what they gonna say is, and they gonna make you feel like, but don't give in. I was trained for this. I felt like I grew up ready for this. But God had other plans, legitimately had other plans. I could not have imagined I would be doing what I do now, helping hundreds of thousands of women and men from all over the world to walk in their purposes and build sustainable businesses and compete at the highest levels. That's not even a career that you choose when you're young. So I know that this is my purpose, but guess what? There was a time where I was passionate and I was purposeful, and right when I was in here, let's use a different color, I was charging $30 a month. And let me talk to y'all that are right there, because at this phase, passion and purpose, oh baby, life feels good. You feel like everything's working out. You're on your live videos. You're like, ooh, yes, I feel so good. Maybe you're preaching online. I got a lot of people that preach online. Like, they're Christians, so they put Christian content out. They're preaching online. They're motivating people. Everything feels great. And at the end of the day, $30 a month. Everything's fine until bills come. Everything's fine until your husband asks you like, hey babe, we were on a path. We had a goal. We were building wealth. We were doing things. I know you didn't leave your $300,000 job to make $30 a month with 10 people in it. Y'all, 10 times 30 is $300. Not good. You go from $300,000 to $300 a month. And this is how I know I got a good man, y'all, because he did not give up on me. Thank you, Jesus. Because he was just like, babe, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. He's like, you gotta focus. So passion and purpose feels good. This is when you're speaking at all them girl boss bunches that don't pay you. You feel good. You have fun. People say you changed their life. They may even cry. They take up all your time with their problems. But you know what they don't do? They don't pay. Feels good till it don't. So then I had to reorganize. I had to get my topics together. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing corporate speaking engagements. I started getting paid $15,000 to do virtual talks. I started pitching companies. So it feels good, but it didn't pay. So then I had to get clear about my topic. I stopped targeting people who needed help without having resources. I started talking about topics that other consultants and speakers were being paid 5 and 6 figures to discuss and to solve problems into. My first corporate audience was colleges. I pitched them on me doing talks for all their students on what? The currency of competence and how to get good grades in school. Because I told you guys I graduated top of my class from Northwestern, but what I didn't say is I almost failed out of undergrad. So the only way I went from almost failing out of undergrad to even getting into Northwestern was I had to transfer from one law school to another and developed a study system that allowed me to be one of the top 10 students in that first law school. Then I got my good grades at the first law school, transferred to Northwestern, graduated from there. So that was my story, and I documented that story in a book. So I created an asset on the topic. My first asset was the book, okay? So my first offer was they could either bulk buy my book or pay me like $5,000 to come and speak at colleges. So now we go from $30 a month to $5,000 to speak at colleges, and they were bulk buying my book by the hundreds. This was good. We were getting somewhere. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. So we got passion and purpose and a little bit of paycheck, but it wasn't sustainable because it wasn't consistent, because I was not consistently pitching for that business. So now let's get into the third part of this whole formula down here. The pitch. Our business did not grow from friends and family. It did not grow from deep connections. I did not even tell people that I knew about my business of being a college speaker or starting my own law firm. And the reason was because I was scared. I was scared that if it didn't work, I would use all my connections and they would like laugh at me. Like, you left the $300,000 job, girl. Why are you out here selling this little stuff? It don't make sense. So I know it's some of you watching this that aren't telling your friends and family about your business. People in your phone don't even know what you do. When they talk about you at family dinners, they're like, I don't know, she doing something on the internet. She doing something. I don't know what she doing. But like, they don't really know what you do, so they can't refer you. That was my biggest mistake when I started. The second biggest mistake was not having a formula or a framework or a coach to guide me through how to make money faster. So here we got our pitch. Now we start pitching. Now I'm pitching colleges for engagements, and I'm reaching out to people to come to webinars that I was hosting for potential legal clients. So I would pitch them on, hey, I'm doing a free webinar. You're a business owner. I want you to come. They would come to that webinar, and then I would sell them on our legal packages and legal services. And if they wouldn't buy them, we had downsells. We had DIY trademark classes and DIY copyright classes that people could engage in and buy. But a lot of people don't want to do it themselves, or it wouldn't work out. And you know what lawyer they would come to? The one that helped them to begin with. So this is how we built our firm. And there were some clients, y'all, that I didn't even have them go on a discovery call because I knew they were a viable client. So what I did was I would go directly to them and say, hey, I see that your business is blowing up. I went ahead and checked out some things in the trademark database for you. It looks like one of your trademarks is abandoned. Let me know if you want me to help with that. I'm by my phone for the next 10 minutes. I can take a call. And you know what they would do? They would call me within the next 10 minutes. Let me tell you something about selling to 7- and 8-figure business owners, 9-figure business owners, and people who are busy. Don't make them schedule that call. Like, if you already know they're qualified, get on the phone with them as soon as possible and close the deal. They're busy. I'm swamped. Like, people sell me stuff all the time. They're like, Ashley, can you do this? Can you do this? I just look at it and move on to my next thing. Like, ma'am, you are one of a million priorities today. It's not gonna happen. Most of the time, people don't sell to busy people because they think people are ignoring them. They're not ignoring them, they just don't have time to deal with that right now. You're bringing me problems instead of bringing me solutions. What rarely happens is people coming to me like, Ashley, I saw that you had a executive admin position open and you probably need someone who could do A, B, and C. I went ahead and already did A, B, and C, and so now we're interested. I'd love to do a call with you and get started. Let me know about the application. The other thing people don't do is they don't move fast enough. So if you really want people to work with you and see you as an industry leader and you can get them a result fast, they can call you directly, they can get things done quickly, that is going to make you stand out. Our law firm got so many clients so fast and grew to $500,000 in revenue quickly because we were available by phone. In a world of AI and book a call and talk to a robot, I was like, just call me. Amazing. It works so well. Now, I come from big law. In big law, we would never tell our clients to book via a link. I get it. But we wouldn't do that. So I wasn't even used to that process of automating everything. So even though we still have automations and we got to have Calendly links and we got to have systems, we typically give our clients a way to talk to a person. Even in our coaching programs, like there is a concierge line for our mastermind clients. There is a way for you to talk to a human. If something goes wrong, we want to talk to you. If you could not automate yourself out of sales, you would end up making more money right now. Everybody ain't trying to talk to a robot, okay? So that's a pro tip. But pitching is what grew our business. So we would reach out to colleges, 300 a week. I would reach out to people from our law firm, about 100 a week. There's a way you have to do it in law. There's stipulations and rules. Check your ethical rules on that. We'd make sure we comply with everything. But we would get people into our sphere so that we could tell them about our offers. You need to have a set number of people every single day that you are telling about your offers. And if you don't, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity of growth, okay? So you want to start pitching. Now, here's where it gets good. If you can combine what you're passionate about, whatever that is, like I want to help people, I'm passionate about that, I'm passionate about speaking, and it's your purpose, like you know this is what you are here to do. Don't get caught up on purpose. If you don't know your purpose, decide what your purpose is in that moment, and your purpose will get clear in the action. It doesn't get clear in the ideation, okay? So you're not gonna think your way into your purpose. You're gonna have to do some stuff and it'll get clear in the actual practice of it. And then you wanna make sure you're getting paid for it. You wanna make sure you're targeting people who actually can afford to pay you. And don't get caught up on the payment part either, because there were some relationships that I generated where I wasn't paid to speak all the time, or I wasn't always paid to be around that person, but the skill set, or I paid them for the skill set. But the skill set that I earned during that period of time was astronomically worth more than whatever they could have paid me. So though we're talking about money and we're talking about passion and purpose, the biggest key that I could give you for how to grow your business and enhance your life as a highly degreed expert who's leaving a big job and you want to start your own business, relationships are currency. Like relationships are everything. You don't want to burn a bridge unless you have to. Notice I said unless you have to, because some people play in your face and you got to play back. Play to win, you know what I mean? But like you don't want to burn a bridge unnecessarily, but if you got to burn it, then do what you got to do, stand 10 toes. But I do recommend that you really think about like, how do I build relationships and leverage my expertise to help others? If I meet someone, I want to serve first. So I'm always thinking of like, how can I serve them first? How can I do something for them first? I don't want to be a problem. I want to show up as a solution. If you can keep that in your mind, showing up as a solution, showing up in your power seat, you always have something to offer. You are going to do well in growing this business. So look, you guys, we've covered a lot today, okay? We basically covered why high-paid experts are typically underpaid, and a lot of it has to do with positioning, how you talk about your rates, and not having a framework by which to grow your business. We've given you a framework today. We've talked about how you need to position as a solution using the outcome-driven statement process. We've also talked about why you need to charge based on the outcome and not on the pieces or the hours. And I've talked to you about a very simple framework: target, topic, pitch, along with the passion, purpose, and paychecks framework that will help you to identify whether you're even operating in the right niche. And on top of all of that, I told y'all, don't be selling stuff you're not a real expert in. So hopefully you all got value out of this. If you did, I want to see you at our Land Big Clients Challenge. We'll put all the links in the show notes. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We do this content for free to help experts like me who didn't even know they needed a coach in the beginning. And if you are someone who wants to work with us, please apply for our mastermind. I would absolutely love to coach you along with our incredible coaching team. So I'll see y'all next time. And until then, keep the energy high and the excuses low.
high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. I need energy, need only good people that's around me. All the faith you can give, that's the recipe.